Hello everybody, back once again with another video. So this is I think I've got 10 here. 10 more underrated slash films people might not have seen. One of them I'd say is like a classic, but I don't know that many people that know about it. Try not to make this one too long. I only chose 10 this time, but some of the videos recently I've been rambling on for like 30 minutes, and the one I'm going to upload just before this, I've done top sort of 20 goriest films I own. But yeah, you've got Harpoon, filmed by Rob Grant. So yeah, there's some really intense film, quite disturbing, original, a twist you don't really see coming, or at least I didn't. Yeah, out of all the sort of newer releases by Arrow, because like I've said before and other people have said, they can be quite hit and miss. Some of the newer, some of the older ones, they do sort of put out some quite bad films, but they are kind of cult films. They do give them like loving treatment and put some is it called Deadly Manor, I think, which I don't think is a good film, but they've sort of gave it a nice release. But yeah, probably my favourite out of all these sort of newer Arrow ones, or I'd say at least films that have been made in the last sort of 5, 10 years that Arrow have put out. But yeah, there's a load of people on a boat, as you can probably tell by the name Harpoon. Yeah, this one I was really impressed by. Say in the last like 5 years of watching horror, ones like It Follows, You're Next, this is up there with them for me, and sort of probably the top 5 or 10. The Stylist, it's about a woman who's a hairdresser and loses her mind, and that's what I'm going to say because that was sort of spoiler territory. But yeah, pretty intense, really well made. Sort of acting and story outside of sort of gore and murder and killings is really well done. What's her name? The main lady in it. Let's see if we can see her. Bria Grant. Oh, in After Midnight, which is another good one. Arrow have put out one of the newer ones, and also Daniel Isn't Real with Arnold Schwarzenegger's son. It's another one of the new ones. But yeah, I was not only impressed by that, but yeah, quite sort of disturbing and intense gore. Talking of intense gore, I think you pronounce it Dan's Mapo. It's a French film, In My Skin, filmed by Marina Devan. I think she has made another one, which is meant to be quite intense. Maybe it's called like Anatomy of a Murder. No, I can't remember now. This one's sort of disturbing because it's a woman who's sort of self-mutilating. Yeah, some real tense scenes. This isn't really a spoiler because you can tell by the way she's biting herself at the front. It tells you on the back some of this, but basically she like cuts herself and catches herself on a nail, and she becomes like, what's the word? Fascinated, intrigued, obsessed with the cut. Keeps on like looking at it, and then she starts like drinking it, and then she starts cutting herself more. Real tense scene where she's at a dinner table with, I guess it's her boss, like a work meeting. She's like cutting herself with a fork, well, sticking it into her arm, like under the table, and he knows something's going on, but he can't see what happened. It is a bit of a quite a lot of blood, but yeah, it's just done in a really sort of intense way, and because it's a body horror, as it says there, something about David Cronenberg. But yeah, because it's sort of self harm, it sort of could trigger some people, I guess. But I think it's done in a more of a way to sort of show self harm and the dangers and psychological issues people face more than exploiting the subject. I mean, I don't know if this woman has sort of had trouble with it, and that's what inspired her to make this. But yeah, there are some real cringe scenes in that. If you can stomach it, it's a really well made film. Uh, this is what I was saying was a kind of classic, but I don't know how many people out know it. But yeah, Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. It's not really that much gore. It's kind of an older, I guess it's from like the 70s. See if I can. Oh no, 1981. So yeah, just out of the 70s. But basically an evil scarecrow that comes alive. A bit with the, what would you call it, the silo is really good. With like the hay. Yeah, it's creepy. It's well made. It's sort of mysterious. Kind of that sort of comfortable, sort of older throwback to when films were made in like a certain kind of style. But yeah, I really enjoy that one. Would recommend that if people haven't seen this. Obviously, I recommend all of these. That's why I'm doing this video. Piggy. So this is a British film. So it's got. Let's see if I can see his name. Uh, Paul Anderson. It's really good in it. And then Martin Compston. I'm sure people know of him. Joe plays like the sort of main character, and then Piggy's like the sort of evil. Yeah, like it says, contains very strong language and violent. Pretty brutal film. Not really a horror film as such. A lot of these I try to choose. First few are horror, but a lot of the next won't be. I'll try to go with some other things as I do talk about horror a lot. But yeah, really gritty sort of inner city film. really sort of powerful scenes. But yeah, I was quite surprised at how good that one is actually. So if you're into your sort of dark British films along the lines of what's it called? Rise of the Foot Soldier. There's another one that I used to watch. Rolling with the Nines, sort of real gory gangster films. Day of Violence, things like that. Then that's one of the top ones. Who was actually directed? Kieran Hawkes, written and directed. Can't really say I've heard of him. Tyrannosaurus is more of a drama, but some quite brutal scenes. But yeah, look at the cast. Peter Mullen, one of my favourite sort of British actors. He's from Session 9, one of my favourite films. Just wasn't quite in the top 15 video I did, to be fair. It's weird after you do those top 15 or whatever kind of rankings, just come across so many after that. You're like, oh, actually. I look at other certain films that would have made it into like the top 50, but not into the top 15, but were very close. Olivia Colman, my opinion, one of the best British actresses ever, or at least in the modern era. And then Eddie Marsan, really good in it. That's Eddie Marsan in the middle. That's Peter Mullen on the left, Olivia Colman on the right. It's basically a guy who sort of really got, what do you call it, like anger management issues, and he's out on the streets, and some sort of scummy kind of council estate sort of people are giving him abuse, and he sort of flips out. And there's one scene which I would say as a trigger, just might sort of upset people. All I'm going to say is with his dog, some violence towards the animal. Obviously, it's not a real animal that it does it to, but might trigger some people. Who is this directed by? Paddy. Can't quite see that. Paddy Considine. From Dead Man's Shoes. But yeah, one of the sort of most powerful, sort of best British films of recent times, I think. Really good acting, good plot and pace and that. This is what I spoke about when I was showing Black Swan by Darren Aronofsky in my Films with Colours in the title. Probably my favourite Aronofsky film. Pi, I think that's how you say it. Obviously, that's a symbol of the mathematical Pythagoras equation. But yeah, I spoke about this before. Really artistic experimental, filmed in black and white, quite a slow burn, quite disturbing, really high concept. If you're into maths and patterns in nature. First time I'd ever heard of this film was, again, with old hip hop. There was this old Philadelphia underground hip hop group called Jedi Mind Tricks, like Vinnie Paz and Stoop the Enemy of Mankind and Josala, that I used to listen to. And they have the sample where he talks about, when I was younger, I stared into the sun. They told me not to, and then when they removed the bandages, I had no sight, and slowly it returns. I could spot patterns in nature and all this, and that's sort of the premise of how he becomes such an amazing mathematician. Like I've said before, he can sort of spot patterns, and there's like what would you call it, a magic number, which is also a band, which I do like, but sort of, not a magic number, like not a prime number, I can't remember what you call it, but basically he knows how to, a bit like Derren Brown when he was doing that, doing that thing where he can understand the like betting world, and he puts money on at the horses, and somehow he can like, what's the word, like, not work out the odds, but exploit them. It's kind of like that, but with like the stock market and things. And then once some shady government organisations find out he's got information in his head that can make him millions, and they all come after him. But yeah, really, what's the older guy that plays chess in it? Sort of teaches him maths and stuff. I'm not sure if it's the older guy out of Gremlins, but yeah, really underrated. In my opinion, Darren Aronofsky's best film. Jennifer Lynch film, so daughter of David Lynch. Vincent D'Onofrio. Yeah, it's got a few scenes that are quite sort of intense and disturbing. I think this is a well-made film. I think she also made Boxing Helena back in the day, which is a pretty messed up film with Julian Sands. I've only watched this once or twice, like 10 years ago, so I do need to watch it again. But yeah, I remember really enjoying it. And as far as sort of underrated kind of serial killer films go, but basically the premise of this one, this isn't a spoiler, it tells you it on the back. A kid gets kidnapped by a serial killer. He doesn't kill him, he keeps him around, and he has to clean up and stuff after the murders. So every now and then he'll hear the door open, and he's obviously kept on a chain as part of the sort of chained. Then he knows he's bringing like a woman in to a murder, and then he has to get ready to like clean it all up after. And then obviously he wants to escape, and he hates the guy that's captured him. But yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio really good in this, as he is in everything. Quite sort of scary and creepy in it. The Woodsman. So this is Tartan Video. I've got quite a few of these by Nicole Cassell, so a female director, but I can't say I've really seen other things by her. But yeah, I'd say one of the most underrated, not underrated, just underrated, but unknown Kevin Bacon films. Also got Eve, who was like a female rapper in Mos Def. That was like a male rapper. Benjamin Bratt, everyone probably knows him. David Alan Grier. Kyra Sedgwick. I've seen her in something, I can't remember what. Quite a sort of dark concept of basically he's, I don't want to spoil it, but he's kind of, let's say he's not really meant to be around children and things, and then he meets a girl in the park who he's friends with, and people think he's gonna sort of interfere with her because of his past and stuff, but he actually is trying to be a wholesome character. Yeah, it's a real good character study, and what's that show? Pointless. You know where they're have to think of like a rare. So I've seen it once when I wanted to know what was it? A film by Leonardo DiCaprio or um, Brad Pitt or like, and then sometimes you'll know one of their very first like old films like Leonardo DiCaprio was in. I think it was Critters 3. So obviously you know that's gonna be a pointless answer. So if they ever had Kevin Bacon as the question, then I think this would be a pointless one. A few other older films that people probably know by him. Yeah, it's more of a drama really, and quite heavy stuff, but never sort of gratuitous or shows anything nasty, sort of in like a sexual way or anything. But yeah, really well done and quite what's the word like? Quite a look into like psychology and stuff. And then this one, I was just surprised how fun it was. Really, Phantom of the Mall. I don't know if it's mall or mall. I think Americans say mall. You don't really have malls in England. We have more like shopping precincts, or what you call it. I live in Bristol. There's one called the Galleries and one called Cabot Circus, which are yeah both like yeah I guess they're what you call malls. But I think in the 90s, malls were just in every kids show you used to watch when I was a kid. I watched Afraid of the Dark. Oh, sorry, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Stuff like that. They'd always be in the mall. I think kids just always met in malls to hang around. Got films like Mall Cop with Paul Blart, is he called? Got Mall Rats, I think it's pronounced, but I always say Mal Rats. Was a R.L. Stein point horror book I used to read as a kid called The Mall, where all these people were turned into mannequins. And obviously you got the film Mannequin. Yeah, I do really enjoy Mal films, would you call it? What's the other one? Clerks. Kind of like set in like a shopping precinct. But yeah, it's basically this has kind of got a bit of a riff on Phantom of the Opera. But yeah, I had this originally on just this normal. Sorry, I'm trying to zoom in with one hand. Normal Arrow release, and then didn't even. I kind of knew they had this big box limited edition, but it had been out of print for a long time. Didn't expect to get it, and I see it in CEX in this good condition, without the J card, admittedly, which I don't really care about too much. I know just get damaged and in the way anyway. Without the J card, quite good. I think it's about 15 or so. So I got it, and then I traded in my old jewel case, normal Arrow, for about 8 or so. So it didn't cost me too much in the long run. But yeah, basically, some guy. People think this isn't a spoiler. It tells you this on the back. People think he's dead. He's been burned in a fire. Then he's like living in the mall and like attacking people. And yeah, it's just a real fun. Let me double check. It's 80s. I can't see. It says on there. It feels like an 80s, but obviously some 80s films can be throwback or they can be made like 90s, looking back to the 80s or with that sort of 80s style. But yeah, just a real fun. Better than I thought it would be. You know, I thought maybe it'd be fun, but it'd be a bit trashy and low budget and amateur. But yeah, it's actually pretty well made and a few like funny moments, a few quite sort of creepy bits. I mean, it does sound like it's a sequel, Eric's Revenge. When I watched the extras on this, special features, I guess you call it. Um, Obviously, all these Arrow releases, all Arrow, but especially these big box and that always have some good special features. And even on films, popular films like say Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, it'll always add on some extra ones that haven't been seen on previous releases and stuff to sort of entice people, I guess. But yeah, on that, it's basically saying the guy that directed it really doesn't show you much on the back. I can't really be bothered to get it out, but the guy who directed it just wanted to call it Phantom of the Mall, and then they wanted to add on Eric's Revenge. I didn't really know it was the producers that made him do that, and then everyone thought it was a sequel and got confused. But yeah, if you haven't seen that and you're into say it's kind of got a vibe of Chud or what's that one with the like people? It's not Aliens. I can't think of the name of it at the moment. Night of the Creeps. Um, yeah, it's kind of got that sort of vibe. Yeah, more of like a fun sort of horror film than an offensive kind of creepy, really gory one. But yeah, number 10 underrated films that I really enjoy. So if you've seen any of these, let me know what you think of them. Any that sort of entice you that you're thinking of watching, let me know. But yeah, like I said before, I only really do these videos just to bring films to people's attention, and if people watch some of these and really enjoy them and become their favourite films or something, then I gives me some happiness. But like I've said also before, I think in the last video a couple ago, some films I've been recommended I would have never really come across or heard of. It weren't for people telling me, and then they've become like favourite films. So I was glad people have told me. So yeah, trying to do the same really, and have some conversations in the community, and then give people some ideas of films that I rate. It'd be interested. Some people might watch some of these and hate them, but also that's equally sort of interesting to me. People say in the comments, I watched, I don't know, for example, Tyrannosaur and found it boring. Then, everyone's got an opinion, so I don't argue with people. And, say someone was to say Shawshank Redemption's an awful film, then I think they're wrong. That's their opinion. You can say you don't like it, but you couldn't really say it's bad because critically and what's the word, technically, and even the story is based on by Stephen King, although there is some artistic changes. It's just well made, so I don't always agree with people's opinions. But yeah, on some low budget films like Phantom of the Mall, maybe the stylist is quite low budget, and so is Harpoon. I can see people don't like them, so fair enough if you want to say that in the comments. It's interesting for me to know: am I overrating these films? Are they underrated? Are they unknown? Lots of people seen Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. I don't think as many people have seen it as they should have, because for me it's more classic. Might be start an award to say then like Friday the 13th and films like that. Yeah, it's just more unknown. But yeah, thank you everybody. Not sure what I've got planned for the next one. I think back to the music collection, so I think it will be part 3, which will be Roxy Music and Led Zeppelin. Probably get them done both in one video as long as I don't ramble on. But yeah, talking of rambling on, I've done it quite a lot. So thank you everybody for. Oh yeah, I was going to do one eventually in my book collection. So I've seen Sammy G's World of Cinema has done one of those, which I'm going to watch later. I've not quite had time to get round to it, but yeah, I got quite a lot of books that I enjoy. So yeah, I might do that one, or one of my games collection. So I've got a retro Mega Drive, PS1, PS2, PS4, PS5, Xbox 360. So if anyone's interested in seeing the books or more music, or going into the computer games, video games, then let me know. But yeah, thanks for watching everybody. Bye.